This is my perspective with Dorit. I feel like she is trying to get Kyle out and wants to be the star of this show.
I don't think she gives star energy. I can't see her being a
I don't
star.
think she does either, but I think she's trying.
So I was just saying I don't care for the to be continued episodes because, like, I wanted to see more of Dorit getting ready for her book launch. Like, was she late to the photo shoot? Like, I wanted to know all of that kind of stuff. And a little bit less of Italy, but Dom
I want
disagrees
nothing to
with
do
me.
with Dorit anymore. So that tells you all my thoughts about...
You are a Kyle purist, but I was not expecting that.
I'm so over it.
Interesting.
And if you guys don't know, we're talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 15 episodes. You're going to get 15 and 16 in one episode. Why? You know why? Because the season is so Dullsville that's easy to put talking about 2 episodes in one podcast episode.
Yes. So I thought about you over the weekend. We were about to go shopping for my daughter. She needed short sleeve shirts or something. And we go to my mom's, and my mom had bought her a whole bunch of clothes, and it was Rachel Zoe clothes. And we took pictures of the labels. And it's the cutest, like, pink denim dresses and little stuff. And I was like,
oh, that is so funny.
I watched her on TV. And she was like, I don't understand. I was like, she designs clothes. I watch her on TV.
I don't understand.
And so I'm going to put the little label up here, but it was the cutest. I was like, I've never seen that in the flesh. And it reminded me of season 14 where she says in her confessional about Amanda, she's like, I go in rooms all the time where people don't know who I am. What are you talking about? And I watch her on TV, and I know she's a stylist, and I know she's licensed her name to stuff. But I was like...
Yeah. I see her jewelry a lot, and I see her housewares a lot. Again, this is no shade to her, because I'm assuming this is how that business works. Like, I see a lot of her stuff at TJ Maxx and Home Goods.
Marshalls,
Home Goods.
I don't know if Marshalls is still around, but Home Goods,
Yeah. And I believe Macy's is like where you get like all her like stuff, if I remember correctly. Actually, hold on. My bar glasses are all Rachel Zoe.
Before she was on the show?
Before she was on the show.
I love that for you.
And I just realized that when I turned around, I'm like, do I have anything Rachel's? I'm like, well, because I remember I was like, oh, cool. Like, I like that. I just want simple glass, like nothing.
She's a classy lady.
She is. I'm going to tell you something, though. As much as I'm also irritated with and kind of over Dorit, these 2 episodes, still a fan. However, I'm a little annoyed with Rachel Zoe. She's now crossed into the annoyance part of my brain, which I appreciate to a certain extent because that means I'm invested in you. But I was not a full fan of hers in these episodes. I guess more so episode 16.
I was not expecting any of this. So when I watch the shows, I'll either be so into it that I'm like, Kyla, you haven't written down anything. You're going to have to go back. Or I'm just writing my thoughts, which are just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go buy bows so I can wear my hair in a bun and have bows in the back of it like Erica's. I was like, trend alert. That's going to be everything. It was so cute. So it's random stuff like that. Or I didn't know that Bose had a course. Bosama. I didn't know she had a course until Amanda was talking about it. And I was like,
okay, sign me up for that. Does she really, though?
She had, it's like a master class.
I'm going to look it up. Do you remember how much Amanda's classes cost?
At least $1,200.
Yeah. Okay, so these are all of Bose's classes. The Badass Workshop, curated by Bosama St. John. There are 4 levels, with the 4th, and that's literally called the whole damn thing, the Badass Workshop, is $250.
Wow.
So that tells me this is something that you don't have to, sell an arm and a leg for. We've talked about this, and I know we talk about Amanda a lot, and quite frankly, I hate to even admit this, but if it wasn't for Amanda, I don't know what we'd be talking about up until now. For the whole show, obviously these kind of courses, right, that Amanda sells, manifestation and blah blah. I'll teach you how to change your life. They do have a reputation for grifting, scamming, like it's all a ruse just to get money out of you. I'm sure there's good ones scattered in between, right? But the majority of them are scamming, and so that's kind of that is the market, right? So if you are interested in them, I suggest doing your research. So I guess where I'm going with this is that seems like an appropriate price point because that tells me she's taking it seriously. That, listen, you should not have to take out a loan to learn something that, quite honestly, you can learn for free in many, many different ways. Now, granted, that can be a lot harder because, there's so many different perspectives, and it might take a little work if you're trying to watch videos and books, and it's like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed with what I do. I'm the type of person, I do like someone to teach me. I'm a visual learner, but I do like somebody to talk and speak to me. I kind of need a combination of the both. If I'm reading the manual, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, so many times have I thought, man, I just wish someone was here to teach me how to do X, Y, and Z. You should not have to break the bank to do that. And to me, a big red flag is when you're charging people thousands of dollars to basically think for yourself. That tells me, you ain't taking this seriously. You just want a cash grab, and you don't give two shits about people's succession of your courses. This tells me I need the administrative fee to create the content and the marketing for it. I have some good content in here. For $250, you have access to the whole, archive of all this, and you get to watch it as many times as you need to.
And I'm sure there's going to be recordings of Bose doing a question and answer, and some of that perspective is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. And also, if you took a class from her, just like when people take a class from Oprah or whoever else, you want them to teach you how to be me. You can't teach that. You cannot teach somebody that. But the thing about it is, everyone says there's an audience for everything. There's an audience that can afford $250. There's an audience that can't. There's an audience that can afford Amanda's that. There's an audience. What has Amanda ever done to say, I bet if I give you $3,000, I could have something different in my life?
Yeah.
That's where we call bullshit. And so I'm okay with that. And Amanda is Amanda. And I just, even in episode, later in the episode where she's like, oh, cunt, we don't use that word in Oklahoma. Bitch, yes, they do. I just can't. She picks and chooses, and it just is so frustrating to me. Someone please find her Twitter page where she's used the word. Because girl, you've used it, right? So
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
Jumped right into it, but from the beginning, Erica, Kyle, and Kathy are having breakfast. What's the deal? What's with the sunglasses? Is it I don't have makeup on yet? I don't want you to see the bags under my eyes.
Probably all of the above. Tired.
Erica
maybe
is such
hungover.
a vibe with this audacious ass glasses, and then her hair pulled up and a scrunchie. I was like, a scrunchie.
Funniest thing about it was they're talking about shocking Dorit being late. It's not a complaint against Erica or Kyle. It is just, again, it's the same thing over and over again. But what was funny is Kathy's like, well, Zsa Zsa Gabor was always late when I guess she was married or dated Conrad Hilton or something. And I just thought, okay, it's just,
I know.
I mean, I did.
Kyle's face was here we go, Kathy. But that is a good point, though, because she says to her, she's like, you called her a liar. That's a serious word. And Kyle's like, I'm your sister. Whose side are you going to take?
Right.
I was like, Kyle gives the eldest daughter, and she's not. She's the baby. But she gives that air of whose side do you want?
Well, at the same time, again, I'm going to give context to our audience right now. You can accuse me of being a Kyle apologist. I will stand on that because I love Kyle, and I just think that she needs a translator because she has the right sentiment, but doesn't always present the argument the way that I hope she would. That could maybe break through a little better. With that being said, she said a thing that I probably would say to my best friend, for instance, if I'm fighting with an old friend of mine because they're just whatever, maybe I'm feeling always attacked by them, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the case might be. And my best friend's across from me, let's say, and he goes, well, I'd be like, who are you going to believe, me, me, or them?
Yeah.
And I do get that perspective of well, hold on here. I'm not pulling this out of my ass. So I would say that was a very Dominic thing to say, which maybe is, I'm not sure if it's right or wrong or indifferent, but I think I did understand, hold on, girl, don't defend her, defend me. The thing is, Kyle's not wrong. And I think obviously that's going to lead to the big argument at the dinner table. It's she's the only one being vocal and just kind of letting her hang out to dry. So that being said, I'm not to jump ahead too much, but
jump ahead. That dinner was the only exciting thing.
I know. I mean, they stomped grapes and all that kind of stuff, and
they could have gave us more on that. They rushed us through that. The gelato.
Yeah.
I
That was,
was
yeah.
laughing so hard because Dorit's like, "Why are we sitting in the sun?" Like she's
I
slowly
know.
creeping off the screen.
What's this set the scene? What's this? Just so we cover all our bases here. Everyone besides Erica, Dorit, and Kyle, they would do their own thing. Everyone else went stomping for grapes. Some of them rode bikes. Some of them took a car. What I will say about this, to put, because that wasn't terribly interesting, the only thing that kind of ticked me off, and we kind of alluded that at the beginning of this episode, talking about Amanda and Bose's business courses. Amanda confronts Bose about the whole business thing because obviously Bose and Erica were ChatGPTing Amanda. I've heard criticisms about it, about Bose. I'm starting to see that online, that it was like mean. And I'm like, is it mean or is it like we all would fucking do that? Maybe I'm a little too sensitive here. I was really irritated in Amanda's confessional. She looks at Bose and starts saying all the negative things about her. And I think that was cowardly because she waited for a confessional to do that. What I would have suggested is you should have did that right in front of Bose in the crowd.
Right. But we skipped over a really big part because I really thought this whole thing was done. The episode starts, Sutton says, "Hey, we were actually still talking about it again."
Oh, to Amanda.
Sutton is still the one.
Yeah, what the fuck is Sutton doing?
Bringing up all of the stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what they would have talked about, stumping grapes, but it wouldn't have been that because that was rekindled, kind of.
When Amanda's confronting Bose at the stomping of the grapes, Sutton starts crying. Like, it's really, God, like, what? This is not about you. Like, what is that? Like, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. This is.
It was not about Amanda.
At least that would make sense. Because this whole season, I have no idea who Sutton is. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who you're buddies with, who you have I don't like alliances, but I don't know, like, Garcelle's gone. Who is your person here? Because you're kind of in that with Kyle. I saw that you're building a relationship again with Erica. Cool. You're certainly trying to build that with Dorit. You kind of blew that up. I'm not going to say you went aggressively with Amanda, but it was quite clear y'all aren't friends, which is why we're all surprised that you decided to room with her. And now you're like coaching her, and now you're spilling like tea to her that amps her up, even though she falls flat. But regardless, you're trying. And then now you're getting emotional over it as if it has something to do with you because you have some weird history of like feeling people are attacked you, which, by the way, I don't remember anyone really attacking you all that much about your business, at least. Maybe some like petty comments, but nothing. And you're crying? Like, who are you?
And then at the end, she's like, "I will tell you about my business whenever you want." And she's like, "Just talk about your babies. Talk about something else. Talk about anything but your. We know about the business. Enough with the business."
And what Bo said to Amanda, I thought it was very. She said what I was feeling, at least, and that was, you need to stop defending your business and explaining your business. Now, I don't know how much you could explain manifesting as your scamming. Right. I don't know how you say that. But
well, I convince people to give me a ton of money and they think it's a great idea.
At least I would have respect for it.
I can't give it back to them.
At least I would have more respect if you like said something like that.
Yeah.
By the way, your chat GPT, the way it talks to you is based on, and now I'm not an engineer, so please don't come for me. I'm not trying to claim like I know everything about ChatGPT. All of ours look a little differently because mine knows how to talk to me based upon how I talk to it and how what the information that I'm asking for. It knows how, like it shades me. They're like, oh, this is so dominant coded of you because you do blah 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 blah. With that being said, maybe it said all these maybe negative things about Amanda because I think it was Erica's phone that it started on, and I'm not going to call a spade a spade. Erica is a bad bitch, so would not be surprised if she talks to it in a certain manner, let's say. So it's not like there's one equation for all of us that's going to be the same. So how she looks at Amanda Francis is going to be different how mine, which I did. I have it in my chat GPT. And it just gave me basically how I look up people. It gave me the same verbiage that I use. And it didn't really go much into the critiques of her business as much as it was explaining all these things based upon my personality, how it's gotten to know me. So I just want to put that out there first and foremost.
Yeah.
I did not like in that confessional again, when Amanda, and again, maybe this is where I'm getting a little too sensitive. There's something about Amanda, this very flighty white lady, coming for a very accomplished black woman. For whatever reason, I'll just put it out there. It didn't sit well with me. It just felt very something. And I don't know if I'm just being
like
hypersensitive. Very, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it felt very Karen-y behavior of like.
Because even in
I'm not accusing.
confessional, she's like, Bose is strong. She
Yeah, that's.
gives energy, and she's like, you do
Mm-hmm.
want to fall in line, which is basically saying she can
Mm-hmm.
run shit. She
Yeah.
speaks at you directly, and it makes you want to be like, oh, let me clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't give the same gross energy as Amanda. Like, ooh, look, me producers, I got you.
Yeah.
We're allies now. Look, see, we found
Yeah.
bitch. You
Mm-hmm.
can find terrible things about everybody. Like,
There's something about it. Again, I'm not going to make any accusations necessarily. It just didn't feel. Let me be funny and petty. It seemed very kind of just a
I
little
know.
more poignant than that. I did not care for it.
But you know what though? I bet Amanda is talking to her chat, and she's like, "Tell me about things," because you
Totally.
know she's coached it
Mm-hmm.
to do some bullshit.
Totally. Yeah. I could
So,
so see that.
but at the same
But
time, while they were there, Dorit, Kyle, and Erica go to get gelato, but we don't see the gelato until the last 2 minutes.
we're all the people.
They
At
looked
this point,
amazing though. There's
I
outfits. I was like,
did.
"Oh,
But
I
I'm
miss
like,
summer."
but I kept looking at this and I'm like, okay. I was like, are they like at a museum that's closed by appointment only? Because I'm like, okay, there's literally not a human being around besides them three. And then
Yeah, and the gelato guy.
at first, that's why I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's like a secluded type of area wherever they are. They're having this conversation. They're trying to. Dorit's already pissing me off because she takes no accountability. Then they go to get gelato. I'm like, and it's just funny to me. I'm like, okay, wait. I see no sign of life anywhere. And then there's just a random gelato cart.
Like he's waiting for the masses of people that are usually here. No,
And
for
I'm
real.
like, you could hear the silence of the area. Like, I didn't hear a bird. Like, I didn't hear, it was just very like, is there any, like, this feels very weird. Like, there's no, I
Yeah.
saw no people again. And then he started walking and oh, there's a gelato stand. I'm like, I hope hit business. I hope business is slow today because I'm like, who else are his customers? Because there's not a single
Yeah.
person. Though that gelato looked so damn good.
So, is there a chance that they said, "Hey, we're filming here," and they told people not to come, or they would have just given them like forms to be like extras?
Both. It could be either one of them. I don't know. I don't know
Maybe
if
they
that was.
thought
Maybe
maybe
they
they thought it
closed
was going to
down
be
the
some
place.
huge
I don't know.
scene. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. Because remember when they get back, Erica said they had like a 25-minute drive back to the villa, so
Mm-hmm.
they were pretty
It could
outside.
be.
You guys rode there in almost silence to then get out of your cars and then talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Dorit was defensive, but I also
Yeah.
think it was an ambush more than it was a hey, let's talk to
Do
our
you?
friend. I do. Because you took me somewhere to get ice cream to tell me I'm always late. To basically tell me that everybody is saying that I'm always late and we all have the same sentiment. And her point,
Okay.
Kyle's point did not get across. Erica was helping where she was like, oh, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know some of this stuff. And oh, I didn't know that. And oh, what about this part?
Mm-hmm.
When Erica and
Mm-hmm.
Kyle met up when Erica was out shopping, and it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, I think I think
Like we
Dorit's
should talk
behavior is a
to.
little bit weird. We should talk to
Yeah.
her." None of that came across. I don't believe any of that came across. And
Yeah.
Dorit has already told you she is picking and choosing who to talk to about this. So going to get
Mm-hmm.
ice cream to say, "Hey, you hurt my feelings by saying that. I really wish you would talk to me," would have hit better
Mm-hmm.
than, "I don't even know what's going on with you. You're just late all the time
Yeah.
and you don't respect my time."
Mm-hmm.
Why are we talking about this when I've already told you my point? I didn't get it. I was like, I
So I
saw it
mean,
completely differently.
I'm curious of how they presented this outing to her because we don't know how they presented it to Dory. Like, hey, we want to talk to you. Let's go out. Hey, do you want to go for ice cream and
True.
enjoy the day? Did they? But I will say, Erica was more softer, and Kyle was not. I wouldn't say aggressive, but I would not say soft either. But it begs the thing of like, if you have that fed up mentality, I don't know how you could approach this any differently without it somebody at least saying feeling I don't know how. And I relate to that of like, okay, if me and my good friend who like those three girls on this show have known each other the longest. At least 10 years, I think. Erica for sure. I think known Kyle for 10 years and Dorit joined after a year after Erica did. So we'll just say a decade. And you see in episode 16 that is a part of because the whole thing is like we're like sisters, like all three of us. Like this is actually really sad because we're all like best friends and tight. So this is a very sad situation, which that also tells me, again, whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent, those two still have empathy for her because they're able to say, I'm so fucking mad at her. But what's even more sadder is we are so fractured as friends. Dorit does not give two fucks. And I could see that this whole season. It's like she keeps saying that she gives a shit about Kyle now, Erica. I'm not feeling it in any kind of way. And I understand like she's going through a lot, blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't feeling it in the way like what Kyle was trying to tell her. Like, hey, how many times have you like come to me? Like, I'm going through a lot too. I think that often is getting missed with the audience. I'm so pro Dorit in this is that it's easy for whatever reason, and I think I kind of know ish why, that Kyle's on her own journey of figuring out her life. And simply because she has a decent and respectful relationship with her ex does not negate her emotional journey of her marriage no longer being present and what it once was. I agree with Kyle. I know that your situation's shitty. It doesn't mean mine's on sunshine and rainbows. And I don't see you asking me for anything. So I guess when you're at my point being, I guess if you're at that point mentally and emotionally, for me at least, I don't know how I would be able to approach that without maybe sounding that way. I think it did help Erica being there because she was softer. Like, okay, like it seemed like she was trying to navigate, like, but then that even
especially
turned to
at
shit.
the dinner.
It wasn't just another fight. It was, okay, now we've inserted an emotional cord because this is affecting now the true lines of friendship, not just like petty, like, you're a bitch, you don't care about me, meh, 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 erratic behavior. Like, all this is like kind of like, I'm not going to say fluff, but it's not like deep rooted. It's all like just observational, like arguments. Now we're getting into like some deep shit, which sad for them, but interesting for the viewers to watch because now we're like tapped into something that's like, oh, this is compelling now because it's affecting their relationships.
But you know what's interesting?
What's that?
All of the silly petty shit is because there was a deeper reason. You just got to get through that to get to the real stuff.
Good point.
You don't say, I've been sitting here waiting. Do you know I left X, Y, and Z to get here to be here on time, and then you weren't here, and that was disrespectful to my time. You can't get there because at first it's like, why were you late today? Can you not do that again? That's your like soft way of being like, hey, my time is as important as yours. You know how many things I skipped for this? Blah, blah, blah. So now that we've said that 85 times, Kyle, now we can get to
like the real meat of this.
Do you think I'm here for you, and do you see that I care at all? Now, I think I'm on the Dorit side because everything you just said about Kyle, I felt for Dorit.
Okay.
I feel like with Kyle, she already knows she doesn't want to be friends with Dorit. And that's why she cannot let this thing go. And I think it's a slow breakup and it just needs to be a quick breakup. And I think it's like, yes, if you've known someone a decade, it's going to be difficult. But unfortunately, Kyle's relationship with Mauricio, I'm like, you're used to dragging this stuff out where you need to just be like, I don't think we're on the same page. Let's be cordial for the show and chill. Because in episode 16, they're showing all those flashbacks. The most recent one was like 2024. I'm like, you guys, do you know how much shit can change in a year?
Where I disagree is I'm Team Kyle, but I agree with what your point is. They should not be friends, right? At least not right now. Well, if we go back for a second, because one thing I did not like that Kyle did, and it took me hearing another perspective to agree with it. Again, I'm not trying to be a Kyle apologist. I'm really trying to see all sides. I really am. I feel like I understand Kyle's sentiment, but her delivery, her choices, because when they came back, for instance, from the Graham stopping and when Dorit ditched Kyle and Erica. And I know that some of the other women are saying this, but like when they're talking at the table, it does come across that Kyle's trying to garner support from the other ladies. Now, here's the thing. I have a few questions in terms of fast forward also to the dinner, and Kyle's like, we're all saying this. And someone, Bose is like, yeah, but I go to Dorit. And Rachel's like, yeah, I mean, I told her. I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but I did tell her. But that's a me thing. I just don't like when people delay. So then it begs me to wonder, is there something that's been talked about that was not filmed that we don't know about? Because Kyle is very adamant, like she keeps saying, and now Erica, as we see in episode 16, like we all feel this way. We all, and here's the thing, it's one thing for Kyle to say it. Erica, she's not a bullshit chick. And when she says to Dorit, she's like, you know, when she's saying, why were you late? She's like, well, I'm talking to my kids. well, okay, how long does that take? Because we all have kids. I would have said that, being a parent or not. I'd be like, just like the Meredith Mark situation in Greece. It's like they all have kids, and I know it's Mother's Day, and they all, just like you, took the trip to Greece on Mother's Day, just like you. Why are you the only one? You're the exception to all this.
Yeah,
Same
your
thing.
kids are more
Something
important. Yeah.
right. And I think that's obviously what Erica was alluding to. Like it felt like to her, right? But when she said, we don't like that you're like, and all these and I think, it's a paraphrase, but I think she said, like, all these motherfuckers won't say it, but I will. And I'm like, it makes me wonder. I'm like, is there, like, when cameras are down, have they talked to the broader group in a more aligning way? And they're just not, for whatever reason. I mean, Erica kind of said, like, we can all go down the line because they're not going to tell you. And it makes me makes me wonder. I'm like, are they not being honest here? Did they all talk about this?
Yeah.
But now that they're all like on camera with her at the table all together, now they're not saying anything, which is kind of shitty too.
If you add up all the moments, even in Italy, Erica was the one that went to Dorit's room when they're
Yeah,
all
you're right.
sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And so
Yeah.
I think it has nothing to do with being late. I don't think that matters
No.
whatsoever. Production would say something that I don't think that matters whatsoever. I think the point is you are excluding us and we think this has to do with something else and we can't get to you. Because even Sutton says, she's like, I think divorce just makes you late. You just become a different person. You just you know what I mean? And it's just like, when I get stressed, I lose stuff. And it then infuriates me because how am I as an adult losing something that was in my possession?
Yeah.
And I go bonkers, but I'm like, Kyla, clearly you're stressed. Sit down. Right? Her way of showing that might be that she's just late to stuff. Or remember, she was getting ready for the gelato and she's like, where's my pasties? Where's my this? Where's my that? She probably had a whole outfit planned with this. That brought it in work. So now she has on this pajama lounge set. And then I hated the lunch when they got back. The snack plates or whatever.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with Dorit, oh, she left because she was mad. Let's all talk about her while she's not here. I hated that. And I think that ramped everyone up for dinner because then you get to dinner and everyone looked amazing and they all come in and they sit down and it's cool. Dorit chose to not sit in the same little car with Kyle and Erica. Kyle is rolling her eyes. Stop forcing her to pay attention to you. She's already told you what she wants. You don't like it, but she has told you and now she is showing you.
Yeah.
You have to fall back. You cannot force her to want to share and be close to you. And you got to pick and choose. Like every relationship is going to have its own dynamic. Some people, you're going to talk to them every day. Some people, you're going to talk to them a couple times a month.
Yeah.
And so if you guys used to talk every day and now you don't and you miss that, tell her that because you're not saying that. Dorit, I really miss you. And then when I get a chance to see you, you're late. And I really wish I had all the time to be with you. You know what I mean? Like, you're not saying any of that. And I can't tell if she's trying to garner support. I think she's trying to say, I'm not nitpicking. We all see it, but it just did not land.
Well, we talked about this last week that we looked up her sign. And I think a big part of this that maybe our job here is to overanalyze, right?
Yes.
But one thing that we know about Kyle, at least from her astrology sign, and I mean, she has always shown this in 15 years. She has been very consistent on this, whether you like it or not, whether it's too much or not. I think one of her traits is loyalty. And I think that it makes me at least wonder and speculate, because I obviously don't know her. I'm just wondering what role that plays in the dysfunction of how she communicates with Dorit. And I guess where I'm going with that is, and they show that also in episode 16, right? Because when she says Bose has been there more for her in this short amount of time than they ever have, which I thought she crossed the line and I would have been really fucking pissed off just like they did. And that's kind of why I guess maybe when you start to piece all of it together, now if we're at the end of the equation, I'm like, even if Dorit had a good point, she already threw that shit away from me. By saying something like that, by her actions, how she spoke to Erica, I'm just like, you are trying to be a bad bitch. And guess what? At least with me and with the people on my algorithm, at least, it ain't landing now. Because you could have had a very strong point, but you just had to go into a much different direction. I'll tell you, this is my perspective with Dorit. I feel like she is trying to get Kyle out and wants to be the star of this show.
I don't think she gives star energy. I can't see her being a
I don't think she does
star.
either, but I think she's trying. I guess going back to Kyle and her loyalty, you saw literal examples of how Erica and Kyle have had Dorit's back for many
You
years. Those
did.
were a span of time, not just
Yeah.
a year ago. Like, I'm wondering how much that plays a role in terms of how she approaches things. Because I'm wondering if, while the answer simply might be stop being friends with her, if it does not fulfill you the way you need it to, that's okay. Maybe it's a pause and, like, we don't need to try to align with each other right now. And that might be 1 month, 6 months, 2 years, however, if you're truly meant to be friends, you will find your way back to each other when the time is right. I think maybe that's hard for Kyle because she has been, that is her real friend, one of her best friends, not just a, flyaway friend. They were best friends for many years, decade. It's probably not easy for her just to be like, go fuck yourself. It's like, I do see her, whether it's her approach might not be the most productive all the time. I do see a friend trying. It's not landing all the time, but she is trying in different ways. I think even Bo said that.
Yeah.
Said at the table, she's like, she might have said these things, we talked about it, but it was not coming from a bad place. It was not coming from a petty place. It was, that's your friend, and she's concerned. Kyle can obviously do a much better job of communicating that. Like what you just said, it would be a most beautiful, perfect way. I don't think maybe in Kyle, for her, not that she doesn't see it that way, that just seems like, I put in so much time and effort into this it's like I put the investment in and she's not seeing it. So it's like, if loyalty really is a big thing with her, now she's experiencing a disloyalty.
And she literally said that. Friendship should not be this hard. Because she's like, after 10 years, shouldn't it be easier? And yeah, she probably just needs a girls trip Kiki as well. She's only going to trust a couple of people. So if it's going to be Erica and Dorit, she's not letting in a whole bunch of others. If you notice, even when she's with Amanda, it's like she's only talking about other people. It's still
she's not going
depth.
deep with her. Yeah, totally.
So she I think that is part of it. Needs someone just as much, and they just cannot say, I miss you. Can we hang out? Or whatever.
Or the opposite. It's what you said too. Or it's like, listen, we're both going through a lot of shit. We both are in the midst of our own complicated stories. And it seems like we don't know how to get out of our own way with each other. Let's just put a pause on this and a definite pause. At some point, either one of us are yearning to talk to with each other. We will pick up the phone and make that happen. But until that seems like the easiest approach and the most obvious one from a viewer's perspective, right? Obviously, friendships are much more complicated in person, so I don't know them personally. So I feel like loyalty for Kyle is playing a much larger role than I think people are giving her credit for. She sees and is feeling the disloyalty, and it's her equation of like that is probably one of her pillars and most important values. And it's almost like you're breaking the equation and you're dysfunctional. Like the chain is now broken, and you're trying to like rewire it. Like, okay, hold on, like how do I? And it's just kind of like spewing out stuff.
I know, because you could tell Kyle was being out of her character, and I've only known her for this season, and I was just like, I don't think anyone has probably ever seen you like that. And I already know I never want to see Erica cry again, because I was just like, no.
Well, you can probably
Erica,
count on one hand.
So sorry.
You can probably count on one hand how many times she's cried. I can name like two or maybe 3 other times tops. She's been very open about that. I will also say too, when they're going back and forth, especially about the finances and the Kelly bag and all this kind of stuff, that was irritating because I really do feel like, and again, there's probably a whole, but actually I know there's a whole bunch of people that are going to disagree because they can't stand Kyle for whatever reason. I mean, what's quite clear, and I agree with Kyle, she is being held to a much different standard than the other girls. And I kind of understand to the point, I think it was Bose or Rachel, I can't remember one of them said it, but well, it lands differently probably for Dorit because you have a much deeper history than us girls. So I understand that perspective on both sides, by the way. You should say that, but also say it about both of those women, not just Dorit. It's like, well, Kyle should not be a fucking punching bag either. That's not fair whatsoever. And I felt that when she said to Dorit, so can you stop grinding my ass all the fucking time? Like, I felt that because I know that feeling of like, I have a part of this that I'm wrong in. But when you just feel like I can't do anything right, there's not one thing I can say right, or you're not even giving me grace. When you have a friend or your husband or whomever, there is a language we all speak that's like, okay, Dom, I'm not going to talk this way. I know it sounds like this, but he actually means this. We all kind of have that unspoken thing, and it just seems like Dorit does not feel like speaking that language anymore. So it's like Kyle can say nothing right to her. So I felt that when she said that, she's like, "Stop riding my ass." I'm like, I have said that so many times. Of like, you know what? I know I'm like a fuck up in my life right now, but can you lay the fuck off for a moment? Because you know I'm not coming from a bad place, and you're trying really hard to make it seem that I am. And that I think that's what's really pissing me off with Dorit. She's doing that to Kyle. Now she has shifted that to Erica, and
She
that for me
did.
really pissed me off.
Because Dorit is fed up. Dorit could have literally said those words to Kyle, "Will you stop grinding my ass? Like, leave me the fuck alone. Who made you father time? Chill the fuck out." Like, I think Dorit had to have this conversation at dinner because there was nothing she could say to Kyle to be like, "We are not there anymore." And even Dorit saying, "I'm only talking to people that I feel like I want to talk to." Okay, I kind of get it. And then she says, "I trust Bose and Rachel." Damn. And
That
you
hurts.
guys, I'm telling you guys, I do not want, we're not in the same place that we were, and I do not want to work on it right now. And they still are just like, "But how can you say this to me in front of So I don't know if it's that they're embarrassed because everyone's there, but they only talk about it when everyone's there. You know what I mean?
At least that. Maybe that's
I
true with
know.
Kyle. I certainly do not believe that with Erica, and that was Erica's
That's
point. She's like,
true.
"Oh, what the fuck are you talking about?"
That's
And
true.
that I thought was, now we've shifted away from Kyle. Now, I actually felt sorry, Kyle. I actually felt the most empathy for Erica. Like I actually legitimately felt bad.
I
She's
did
like,
too.
I
Yeah.
don't think she was anticipating to get activated, but here we are. And I mean, I've texted you kind of funnily about this, but this is the Erica that we as fans have known for a while that we have not seen in a
Yeah.
minute. Is this activated Erica? I'm glad it came out. Unfortunately, and I'm glad it's because of her very fractured friendship with Dorit. But I don't blame her because that was real. I'm like, where did this come from? And
I wasn't expecting it because when
I
they
wasn't
left
expecting either.
Gelato, she was saying she wants to see this different side of me. She wants to see. So I thought she was like, "I'm gonna get in the car. I'm gonna crush it." But then you
Yeah.
guys go and get ramped up at this mid lunch appetizers thing, and I was just like, Kyle is saying, "There's nothing I can do." Dorit does not want. She is bent on misunderstanding me. Dorit
Yeah.
is saying, "There's nothing you can do. I don't want to be understood by you." Because when
Yeah.
Kyle goes so hard that Dorit intentionally, it had to be intentional when she skipped Amanda.
Oh my god.
But
I was like,
Kyle did not have to go at it so hard. And you're just like,
she did it, but
Kyle,
I get why
literally
she did.
in every confessional, everything she is saying, I'm like, Dorit could have said that exact thing. There's nothing she was going to do to me, and she's not going to understand me, and I don't even understand. And like, she's constantly looking for a problem. That is exactly what Dorit is saying. And I was like, you guys are so close. You can't even see that you're just over it with each other.
But
So
that's the distinct difference though between those two women. Dorit, I guess subconsciously is done. Even though in confessionals for a while now, it seems like she's trying with Kyle, like whatever. My personal opinion, when she said that she's done being friends with her or however she said it, and they're all like, what? Kyle, you don't mean that. I'm like, I think she really does mean that, but I only think she truly thought that way in that dinner. I don't think she thought this all
okay.
along. I really don't. And I'm putting myself in those shoes because I feel like I understand that. It's like, and maybe there's been thoughts of like when she's alone at night in her house and she maybe just had a fight with her, she's reflecting, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure it's a very normal thing for her to think, maybe I'm just fucking done with this bitch. I think whatever. We say things like that. And sometimes we say it flippantly. But
Yeah.
sometimes there's there's more meaning to it than we actually are ready to accept. That we don't allow that thought to, fully progress emotionally for us. I do feel like in that moment when she said that, I think, and within that, she finally hit that breaking point where she's like, you know what, this is that side. I'm done. I don't want to
Yep.
be your friend. I'm good with it. And I don't know why these other chicks are just like, oh my God, Kyle, you don't mean. I'm like, I'm pretty sure she meant that. I'm like, and that's totally fine because I don't
But
think
she
they want to
hasn't
be friends
even
with each
felt
other.
that. with her husband. I don't even think she's had come to that breaking with her husband.
Oh,
And
well,
she's
clearly
like,
not.
shit,
Yeah.
this is what's going on. But I did like the reactions from everyone because Natalie's on the end like,
Oh my God. What a joke she is.
No, but she's looking like, oh, this is what it could have been. Okay, yeah, I don't want any of that. And then
That's
even
true. Yeah.
Amanda, I think, you remember, I think I'm getting in with these girls. I think I'm making
I
headways. I think ma'am,
bitch.
she was aggressive with Erica at the end.
Oh
But
my
I'm sure
God. Yeah.
even Amanda was sitting there like, okay, she was not aggressive to me. Oh,
Well, you
she
know
did not
what?
verbally accost me.
I
Oh, okay, I did not see any of the, okay, yep, nope,
what,
I didn't, I
I
never
will
got this.
say, maybe this is the one time I actually felt a slight like I don't know what the right word is, not sadness, but I didn't hate her, and I'm talking about Amanda this whole episode because a going back to the how she skipped her, I agree with you, that was intentional. How do you not know your cast member is? You forgot that she was cast on the show and that you've been fighting with her?
You
Like,
even said Natalie.
I'm like, oh well, Sutton was in the way, and Sutton was like, well, that's kind of bending forward. Are we insane here?
Kyle was like, what the Sutton,
Are we
please.
insane? She is a full-time cast member on the show that's been filming along with us. You had a fight with her yesterday.
And the producers literally showed everyone.
Like, listen, I think she got a lot of love last season for smoking in the car. Well, you didn't watch last season, but there was a whole thing that she smoked in the car, and everyone thought, like, oh my God, she's a bad bitch. Look at her, she gives no fucks, all this kind of stuff. Because we saw a different side of Dorit. What the Dorit that you're getting to know is not the Dorit that's been on the show for the last 6 or whatever years. Like, she's been a little more, not subdued. I've always liked Dorit. I didn't love Dorit, but I always enjoyed her. What you're seeing was not who we're used to. It makes me wonder if she got that love. I'm first chair at the reunion, getting a lot of love because I'm doing this and that. People love all my quirks now. Like, that's, it begs the question, is that going to her head? I guess is where I'm going with it. Her skipping Amanda, and not because I'm trying to defend Amanda, it gives like that whole like your highness, I feel like that's how she wants Amanda to look at her. Like, oh my God, like she is not
I don't
worthy.
acknowledge you, you don't matter.
Right. But to shift back to Erica and Dorit, I'll tell you this, that really like ticked me off was, Erica's talking about the time, all these motherfuckers won't tell you I will, all this blah blah blah. It's in this moment when she gets to Erica, she's like, oh well, she's going through a lot. Bitch, we're all going through a lot. And this is where and Erica's single, I'm single. I don't have her kind of money troubles, but I have my equivalent to myself. For Dorit to insinuate, like, when she says to her, you're going through a hard time, I wanted to throw a wine glass full of wine in her face. She's going to court yet again for what is $150+ million, I guess, lawsuit. Do you know how terrifying that must be? She's not rich compared to these women. Her husband went to jail. He's like has Alzheimer's now or something about he scammed all these people. She had to take on all of that, which Dorit knows, which is why I agree with Kyle. I'm like, you bet you knew that she's going through this.
Dorit said, I knew, but I knew from like...
And that's really shitty.
She didn't tell me.
She lied. So she lied. Yeah. This is very serious.
And we've talked about that before.
Yeah, we sure have.
What are you supposed to do? Oh, hey, hey, friend, I'm getting sued today. Can you come over and sit with me? Like, the closest thing I've ever done to that was when my dad passed. And I was like, shit, I can't do this by myself. And I'm like, do you have time to talk? And then you're like, I don't know how to say this, but it would be on Dorit to reach out and be like, I just saw this.
I kind of think so. Yeah,
how
I think
you?
So.
Yeah, so for that, Dorit was...
And she could have had, if she approached that not in a fucking bitch way, if she didn't go so disgusting at her as if she's insinuating she has no problems, if she would have said, listen, I know about your judgment, I've read about it, I didn't want to talk about it because you did it, I have acknowledged it, maybe I should have tried harder. She could have did all that, and I'm like, okay, right. I agree. And then lie about it so she knew. And I agree with you. If I saw you in the news and you didn't tell me, I would reach up like, hey, I saw this. You don't have to talk about it. I just want to check. Are you good? You need to talk. I do agree with you because I do think that would be the responsibility of the person if you didn't come to me first. And I agree with Erica with like, we're not going to, like, I hate when people compare one person's pain over another because we should not be comparing anyone's pain. It's all relative.
But you
What
have
hurts
no
me,
idea how they're handling. Yep.
totally. What's painful for you may not be for me, or not to the same extent. It does not, comparing one's pain does not negate the other person's. You can both acknowledge, like, I'm going through an extremely tough time. And I'm just going to put it this way. I'm so sorry. I'm sure nasty divorce with a narcissist is horrible. And I have a lot of empathy for Dorit, and I feel bad for her children, more importantly. But I'm going to tell you something. What is truly terrifying is if you're a single, lone woman going to court over $100 million after she's been doing shit like this, lawsuit after lawsuit, because of the shit that her ex-husband, or I don't even know if he's an ex necessarily yet, but after all the shady shit he's been doing, this is not the first rodeo in terms of this large amount of sum of money going to court for. That could literally destroy somebody. Obviously, I'm not rich, so I don't even know what that'd be like. But over $100 million judgment, lawsuit, whatever, like, that is terrifying to me, because it's like, I get scared if my electric bill is too high. I'm like, how am I going to pay for that? This? So
Right.
fuck you, Dorit. And I don't know, that really just ticked me off. Whether your thing with Kyle's right, wrong, whoever, threw that out, I don't really care anymore, because I think that was they want to use the word cunt, so I will too. That was a real cunt move, in my opinion.
It was. And I think when Dorit said that, I was like, man, she really lost us. But then I was like, she didn't, because she really doesn't want to be friends with them either. I'm not sure. I think Erica is just getting lumped in because Kyle is primarily
it was like collateral damage. Yeah.
It's April 2026. And I'm thinking, like, is Erica supposed to reach out to you like, hey, there's a rumor your house is getting foreclosed. Do you need a friend? Right? And so Dorit is trying to make it clear that she's not interested, but she hasn't ever directly said it. She's just been withholding information from them.
Well, that's
and
shitty,
now she's
that's
trying
true.
to. It is, and now she's trying to act like she's surprised that they can feel that you're being cold to me, which is really, really silly. To be completely cliche, hurt people, and this
100%.
divorce is probably kicking her ass.
I think this is exactly what we're seeing on all sides.
Yeah. And so the rest of episode 16, well, Dorit does leave the table, which
of course she does.
You know, the only reason I don't like that, because I appreciate leaving before you get out of hand. I'm glad no one threw a drink or splashed anyone in the face and all of it. You're always late and then you leave early. I can't.
Yes. If we want to just put it all out there, can we just acknowledge and leave and not make any excuse? Zero excuse. My best friend will tell you, if the barbecue is at 3:00, I probably will show up at 3:30. I'm not going to show up 2 hours late or anything. Like, that to me, I think is so disgusting that I just
he's
don't
not going to bring out your birthday cake at 3:00 because he knows you'll be there at 3:30.
Totally. Holding up airplanes. It's like, they're missing the bigger point here. It's like, why are we allowing this to be okay? I don't think any of them would say, we're not trying to make it okay. But you're kind of, I think it was Rachel that was like, well, I mean, if that's her, I kind of accept her that's how she is. And that's just okay. To hold up pilots, wait staff, production crews, this cast. So it's just okay for people to basically show up whenever they want to. Like, I don't understand, like, why they do leave Kyle alone on this. Someone like that would not be my friend.
And they would be fired from work.
Or you'd be. How about that? Can you imagine me just rolling in like 2 hours, 3? It's lunchtime. Oh, I just got, like. It's almost like the very basic rule of just being a good person. It's like, there's a difference between, again, being 15, 20, 30 minutes late. Hours? You're holding people up continuously, and bitch, it's on camera. And who knows how late you are in the non-camera sessions of your life. Like, I don't know how that keeps getting lost. And maybe that's like my very big frustration with her. It's just like, that is, to me, I think it was what Rachel that said it was, that shows that you have no respect for other people, and you think that your life, your circumstances are a lot more important than everyone else's. And I think that rings true, because look what she said to Erica. You have problems. I feel like people are not connecting that dot more than maybe they should be. At least that's what I am. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But she is showing in a lot of different behaviors of, like, she's way more important. Her shit's way more important than everybody else's. And I feel like that's getting lost in the translation of just like, bitch should not be late. And if she's gonna be that fucking late, then I think everyone needs to tell her, bitch, we don't want to be friends with you because that is way overboard, and that's not cool.
It's not cool. Do you remember the Sedona trip when Sutton was late for dinner and they grilled her?
Yeah. How about that? What the fuck?
Grilled her. So I'm
she can just roll in whenever?
If you are in the cast and you're recording live, right? If you're Kyle, can you feel that Dorit is trying to be the Beyonce of the group and you're trying to make your argument to fire a cast member and this helps? Or
I think she can feel it because she's a pro, but they don't have the authority to do that. I mean, or they don't have the influence because they might look at that as TV rating. Who knows? Like, I don't think they look at it from that lens. I think maybe some women might, who are newer, might think, oh, I don't like this bitch. I'm going to try to get her fired. They're not in those conversations. Yeah, yeah. The same way they can't get people on the show either. Like, it goes both ways. But I think if you're a pro, I think someone like Kyle, I mean, she has not said this, so this is just my personal viewpoint. But someone like Kyle, I would suspect, can feel maybe someone trying to stand out, let's say. I'm sure she probably can sense that. I don't know if she feels that way, but I can, in general, whether it's Dorit or not, she probably can sense if somebody was to join her show. I'll say that. She probably can sense if someone's trying to not even just forge their own path, but like, I want to stand out more than these bitches.
That's interesting. Maybe that's why she's close to Amanda. She's like, well, all the screen time they're going to give you, I'll be right next to you too.
I mean, that's a good strategy move, I suppose. I mean, I don't like Amanda, but like we've been on so many tangents talking about Amanda, so it's worked. So it's probably not a good move, or not a bad move.
Yeah, it's good though because I have like two people I could talk to about like manifestation and even having dreams because I didn't even dream before like 3 years ago. And then I started to read books and they were like, what do you want? And I was like, no one's ever asked me that. Or like, I haven't thought about that since I was a kid. So you guys, I was joking with Dom, but we have 137,255 views on YouTube. And this makes me laugh because when I look at the videos, I'm like, okay, 86 views here, 62 views here. But we like to manifest and talk about stuff like that.
We do.
But then we are also the most skeptical people you will probably ever meet. Yes. And then if we're not snacking, and then we're obsessed with the Housewives.
That's so true. That's so us.
So we're such a good combination of stuff. Somehow
like, this is how we talk in our normal life. Like, this isn't just like, how do we bring our conversations just to a recording and then just find a consistent thing to talk about? Like, this is how we talk about these women. This is how we talk about every other thing in the world. So it's, yeah, this is the authenticity at its finest. Maybe Amanda could take a note from us.
2 notes. So in episode 16, a couple of things stood out to me. Bose goes looking at houses with her guy and Legal, and she specifically mentions, I mean, you know, we're combining our lives. Now all I need is a ring. And I was like, oh, are we going to see the engagement in the next episode?
Well, so I watched the preview, so yes, we will, because I saw that.
Oh, I didn't watch the previews. Okay.
Oh, and surprise.
Then, I think Salt Lake City ended at 16 episodes. So I was like, this is the 16th. Doesn't feel like it's the end. What are y'all doing?
Well, Rachel's party started.
Started. That's my first time seeing Dorit with her hair curly. And it doesn't help that
I love the theme.
Is wearing a curly piece. And so I'm just like, all I could hear in my head was you talking about Bobsy twins. And I just was cackling while I watched it. But Kyle, I've never seen her like this. And I'm sure she was talking to Erica, but she's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, look who's here.
Yeah, I was there. Oh, no, she said it to Sutton.
And so
Can I just say also,
Kyle
though,
is kind of enjoying being petty like this because she's taking it on pretty well.
You know, here's the thing. Whatever it is, we, at least as an audience, me as a fan, general rule, if you're going to be blank, be blank. Don't be like, if you want to be petty, don't try to be nice. be fucking petty. That's how you,
Gotcha.
because at least we're seeing the real you. At least you're not being a fake bitch. You know what I mean? At least you're not a fake person. So if you want to be petty, it might not be a mature thing to do, but at least you're true to whatever it is that you feel and want to do. And we'll see if they actually talk. I don't know. They might not. They might avoid each other for all we know. I did see a clip of a preview of Dorit and Sutton talking. It looks like Sutton is trying to gauge where Dorit's at about how she should talk to Kyle, and Dorit's not having it. And then the clip ends.
I mean, Sutton, you haven't known her as long as me. I know how to talk to her. Thanks. Kyle, you don't want to be friends with Dorit, baby. Let it go. She's literally fighting herself. She's like, she is so disrespectful to me and is not letting me in, but I am so loyal. I'm going to be here if she needs me. And I'm just like,
I know. I am Kyle, because I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it. Like, you just want to be like, stop.
You can't see it when you're in it. You can't see it when you're
in it. That's so true. But I am Kyle in a way that's like, I am fiercely loyal. I'm the type of person, for instance, that I don't let everybody in. I'm very introverted, and my circle of people are very tight of what I share with. If I'm in a disagreement or something, or like a very big whatever, I'll be very honest. I'm the type of person, unfortunately, I've grown a lot, but it's still there where I can say some shitty things in the heat of the moment. I am that type of person. I have grown, so don't judge me on that. But with that being said, I look at it as she truly does care about this woman, that she does need to take the advice of, like, I'm not going to say let it go, but it's time to let this end. But it's sometimes hard to do that when you care about somebody. I understand that. I don't think Kyle wants this, but it might be necessary to end the friendship, at least temporarily. And it's still probably too fresh. So, I mean, we'll see if they actually talk at the birthday party. I suspect something will happen. I don't know how it won't. I did love the theme of the party, but I think the best part of this episode, the end of this episode, was Rachel's son greeting everybody.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I love when she's like checking the people and Erica comes and she's like, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Erica," and she goes, "Erica Jane." She's like, "This is me." And then he goes, "I love your hair. It reminds me of Dolly Parton." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I love this kid so much." I'm like, you know what? We said this before, but kudos to Rachel for being a good. Oh, and she took her other son shopping and had a good conversation. Rachel's she's a great mom, and I love that we get to see that side of her.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm really excited. You believe that episode 17 is going to be the last one of this season?
It's either that or 18. I think there's only a couple more episodes, and then the reunion. Rumor has it. There's been the 3 girls are not friends, but the one I read specifically said that Erica and Dorit went at it and nothing was resolved, and they're no longer on speaking terms. Okay. We'll see if that's true or not. I feel like it probably is, but I can't. I look forward to seeing it in action.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because I'm not the type of friend for you to be like, I've been here for so many things. Mm-hmm. I'm not a what have you done for me lately, but I'm not a you can't feed me when I'm hungry. And then remember that time I fed you? That doesn't play with me. Yeah. And so I think for that, I'm very different from Dorit, because she's like, I'm sure I apologized when I got on the plane for being late. And they were like, no. And they show it, and she absolutely did not. All. So I think Erica's argument is more of I've always been there. And I don't know exactly how long can you carry that? Like, I don't.
Well, I am Erica. That's funny that you say that, because I'm more. I look at the whole equation when it comes. If I'm in a rift, I'm like, if I'm with a partner, we break up. I think the reason why it's like certain, like, because it can contradict someone's character sometimes. Of like, if you think I'm the evil person, it's like, well, was I evil when I did X, Y, and Z? All those. And here's the thing: you have to tread lightly. You can't necessarily say that or tread lightly, because then you sound like an asshole. Like, well, you remember that time that I did this and this? I see I'm a great person. So you kind of can't do that. But I think Erica towed the line appropriately in terms of you don't have to say examples. You can plainly say, I've always been there for you. What are you talking about? And I think that was fair in terms of at least what they were talking about. I think when you go tit for tat, I agree with you. Like, that's a little, then that's semantics at that point. hold on. And I think it's because then you're seeing in real time of like, okay, wow, I really mean nothing to you then. And that's the thing I've seen a lot online in terms of people that are on Kyle and Erica's side. It's like, wow, Dorit just literally just showed them who she is, what they meant to her, which clearly is nothing anymore. And that hurts if you're like have a long friendship with people. Like
it does hurt. It does hurt.
And to your point, though, what you said, you're totally right. It's cliche, but I think it's one of the most authentic and real things. Hurt people do hurt people. So God forbid, and I really hope that everyone's in a mature space if this does happen. But Dorit might wake up one day and go, "Wow, I said something that was really shitty of me. I hope they can forgive me for that because that was really shit." Because sometimes people don't have they might forgive, but they might thank you for your apology. Okay, you take up no more space emotionally for me, but we're not that we don't fit no more.
That'll be Erica. I appreciate that, but still don't speak to me.
Yeah, totally. And that's sometimes me. I'm like, I'm not gonna grudge holder, but I'm like, once there's a wound and if it does not heal, properly, I can't unsee it sometimes.
No, that's true. And so fascinating to watch these cast members because yes, they are women. Yes, they are living in Beverly Hills. Yes, right now they're in Italy. Their lives are so different.
Yeah.
This episode was hard to watch because while it was entertaining and you're just like, whoa,
for all the sad reasons, yeah.
It was, I think if Erica wouldn't have cried at the end, I would have been like, oh, okay,
I know, those were some tears.
I was like,
yeah, those are some real ass tears.
And between makeup and Botox, they would not have been crying. That's not like a let me just cry. That was like, shit, I gotta cry on camera.
Yeah.
Like, so that part,
and I'll tell you this
like, I hope
too.
the reunion's not like this, please.
I know. I will say too, and I think some people maybe would say because they hate Kyle, like, oh my god, it's so performative. But Dorit is very, I think, maybe she's in a very selfish phase of her life right now, and maybe that I would probably argue that's understandable with what she's going through. Right? Erica cries, seeing like they're like, oh my god, Erica's crying, and there's Kyle, who is equally like frustrated, but sees her friend crying, gets up, and is the only one to give her a hug. And that is a clear difference, I think, in those two girls and Dorit. They are really hurt by this, and they are also genuinely friends with each other. Erica's criticized Kyle a bit here and there, and is not afraid to tell her, like, hey, this ain't cool or whatever. I thought that was actually a very tender, sweet thing to do because Erica is not an emotional gal. She's the first one to say that. So, she's really bothered by that.
Because I couldn't see anyone else have permission to even touch Erica. She doesn't like hug you when you come to her house.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly's not going to lean over and you know what I mean. So I totally agree with that.
When I saw that, I was just like, oh wow,
it felt right.
See, I've been seeing some of the opposite though when Kyle is dabbing at her eyes and people are like, what tears? Where are the tears?
I know.
Or they're saying that the tears are for Erica, but I think they're still valid if they're for Erica too.
I was going to say, I feel like nothing was wrong with that. If I saw my friend crying, because I don't expect Kyle to have tears for Dorit, at least at this point, based upon that. Made it tears of frustration of like, I'm so fucking angry right now. I think if she had tears for Eric, I think that is totally warranted. So now that you have watched Salt Lake City, Beverly Hills, just started Rhode Island, now you're getting a feel. I'm curious of like, we always talk about life is hard, just living is hard. We talk about like people that are rich and famous and have influence, all this kind of stuff. Before watching the Housewives, has there something changed for you? Or is there any observations or anything that has changed for you, how you've looked at maybe people of, let's just say influence, whether it's fame, money, both, and seeing them dealing with real life problems, friendships, relationships, that sort of thing. Is there something that's changed for you that you might have thought about someone like them previous, and now that you see them going through similar things that normal people do, just maybe in a more elevated way? Is there anything that's changed for you that you would have not thought before watching Housewives?
Yes, and I have a shallow-ish answer, and you can ask a follow-up, but when you are not famous and super popular and have a TV show and books and all the stuff, I have always assumed that money just makes things easy. And these women are showing me that you can still be on TV and you can still get your feelings hurt, or your spouse can still leave you, or you could still be. We can watch Bronwyn and be like, "You're so gorgeous," and your husband is cheating on you, and you've heard those things. Show me a beautiful woman, I'll show you someone who doesn't want to sleep with her.
Yep.
But then you see them, and you're like, "Wait, he's hurting you. Wait, that friend doesn't want you. Wait, that." And you're just so shocked, and you're like, I would have never called a housewife, a reality TV star, persistent. Wow, look at what they've persevered. And then you watch them and you're like, oh my God, her mom's a bitch. She's still a nice person. I just assumed that money just made things simpler. And, you know, I wasn't quite in the eat the rich camp, but I wasn't far off. And now I'm just like, oh, you can be an asshole with money, or you can be a nice person with money. Okay.
Yeah.
And before I hadn't considered it like that.
I don't think that's shallow at all. I love that you said that, because it's something that I often think about too. I don't know exactly how to defend it in this day and age, because to your point, I am still in that camp to some extent of eat the rich, right? At least if you're not using your power for good, then I come from that school of, if you have money and power, if you're not using it for good, then what are you doing with it? And I'm not even talking about like the Jeff Bezos of the world that you just have, you can literally solve world hunger kind of money. I'm just talking about like millions, right? Because I used to think something what you just said too. I never came from the thought of like money can buy you happiness, but what you said, I think it can make it a lot easier, And I think this show does highlight, you can have money, you can have access to plastic surgeons, or you can know the right people for the right things. It still does not take away from the fact that you can still feel a lot of hurt. Like, this is a prime example, friendship. I would argue your best friend, and not just like friend, but like your people, whether it's attacking your character or end of a friendship, can hurt a hell of a lot more than.
There's different levels of intimacy, and you can definitely have friends that know you way more and like more in depth. Yeah, a friendship can cut way harder than like a romantic.
Yeah, because I come from the thought, at least, that I think there's friends that come into your life for a reason, for a season, as they say, and there's a purpose that they serve. I'm not talking about those, right? I'm talking about like the ones that are your family. Like, it's surprising. I'm shocking how we're not blood, because everything else would say otherwise. Kind of friend, we lean on them, even maybe not even like in a physical manner, meaning like you have to be in the same town. It could be like, my best friend now lives about an hour away. Nothing emotionally changes. I still need him more than anything. And I would argue, like, I need him more than I need a guy. Now, it's very different, because what a romantic partner can give me, a friend cannot. But that's vice versa. And your friends, I think, are the ones that help put you back together again when you fall apart. I don't think that can always be said for a romantic partner. So I think, with that being said, it can hurt a hell of a lot more. And I think this shows that money can't fix that. Those moments when you lay your head down at night, and I believe most, not all, the rich and powerful, they know. If they've done some shitty things that day, they know.
But even on the lighter side, right? You're in Italy on this amazing trip at this villa. Your kids still get hurt. Your kids still get sick.
Oh my God, that's a good point too, yeah.
And so then you still, like, they still have life outside of this part. Yeah.
Well, look at Rachel. Rachel's a prime example of that. Like, her kids with her ex and that whole situation, it still affects her to the point where she's like, do I need to leave?
I just listened to that episode. You guys, episode 14 is so funny. Like, I'm going to submit that one for all the podcast awards. Dom is like...
I know. Kyla texted me about, I'm like, oh God, what did I say? Because I don't remember.
You clearly trust the dad. He may be a dick to you, but the kids are with him. I am so over this. You're going to leave this beautiful country that you said multiple times you've always wanted to come to.
I'm remembering now.
Because your kid stubbed his toe. Okay, I want to go to the fucking Hamptons too. I was in tears.
Well, I think that's the thing. Interesting. Yeah. Yes, we talk about, it has its fun quirks like drama and fights, all this kind of stuff. The main thing is obviously conflict and resolution, but really it was birthed from a space of like, wow, you have these affluent women, living their lives. And it is very interesting to see, especially think about like all the way in 2006, you had a handful of shows at most, maybe, of reality TV. And there's something interesting about like, we're just going to watch rich people live. Okay. What you just said, it's at its core, that's what we're seeing, whether it's, captivating or not. It is, we're watching real people live. And that is fascinating at times.
It is. And so if you're listening to this, you probably already like the Housewives, or you're one of our best friends. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
But if you do watch the Housewives, I'm going to challenge you to tell somebody about it, because the show is way more than I thought. This is my third series watching. Dom is the housewife historian, and it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
And take it from her. Kyla's a very accomplished, smart, college-educated person, and she likes it. So that tells you something, that it's not just for, ding-dongs like me. It's for the well-mannered people.
You're funny. I don't know who I would have thought it was for, because
I guess there's no right person, yeah.
I was getting out of college. So it just wasn't the time for me to watch TV. I was moving to Kentucky and getting a job. And then whenever the Kardashians were out, it wasn't the time. And then, so it was just a lot of bad timing. But that happens to me for a lot of stuff. Like, there's a Harry Potter reboot happening. My husband's like, you gonna watch it? I'm like, I never read the first ones because I was in college when they came out.
Yep.
So I missed a lot of this. I don't know when I would have picked up and just been like, I'll watch that new show. I don't know. Thankfully, I met you when you said we need to watch this.
Like, you need to watch this show. Well, more like, talk about a social experiment, too. I mean, just like, we're two different people, and we're similar, but we're also very different. I'm very intrigued by different people's reactions of this show, because there are different reactions. Because while I'm sure there's a demographic that people at the network will try to pinpoint, I would also argue, I think it's open to all, quite frankly, of like what it resonates. Sometimes it's the husband that appears in the background that thinks he's not interested, but he gets hooked because of whatever. Like, I feel like it spans all genders and identities and age groups. That I think that's the most interesting part about it. It's the people that actually get really like interested and invested in the shows and these people's lives. And people are just like us in a lot of ways. It does not matter what your circumstance or where you come from, or again, how large your bank account is. You can still always find common ground with one another.
Yeah. And to be extra corny, all of these cities and states are so different. This is like the most patriotic show ever, because it's really showing you like that we are all so different. No, like
that's so true. That's actually, I never even thought about it that way.
You're
right.
all super different. I mean, because even when you were talking about Dubai earlier, I was like, oh, that was the first international one, huh? Because these are all places in this country, and they are so different. Like, would you still watch Beverly Hills if Kyle left?
There's only two that I would say. I would have argued three, but I still watched it. That would say, like, their shows are them. So if they left, I feel like there's no show. For New Jersey, it was Teresa. Like, there is no Real Housewives of New Jersey without Teresa. She will be coming back. And Kyle on Beverly Hills. I feel like there's no Beverly Hills without Kyle. I think it's 50-50 split. I think a lot of people feel that way. I think people hate her so much for whatever stupid reason that they would say, I want her gone. I think if they left, people would regret it. And it's not because she brings all the drama. She is currently held. She's the longest running consecutive housewife in Housewives history. 15 years. I'd be so devastated. I don't see it. I would probably give it a try, but I can't imagine it. So I'm hoping it's not. I would be so devastated. She's an anchor. And I don't know there's no one there that's an anchor. And I love Erica. She'd be the second longest on the show, not ever, but I love her, but I don't think she's an anchor. That current case is no anchor of the show. So I don't see it personally, but.
And they might have to bring back two people because Sutton was kind of dry too.
The third one I was going to say, I used to believe was Nene. I still half stand by that. I think it's a pretty good I look forward to the new season that started today. But I don't think it's the same. I think that show needs her back, and she's going to be on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Road Trip. But that is kind of, I don't know if you know too much about the history of, like, she tried suing Bravo and all this kind of stuff, and there was a lot of bad blood between her and Andy Cohen. But all is well and all is good now, and they invited her to be a part of Road Trip. So people are speculating / hoping that means for the next season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Nene will come back. And I think that needs to happen.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for overanalyzing with us.
Analyze away. Always analyzers.
Yes, episode 15 and 16 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Bye.
Bye. What time do you want to let's wrap this one and then we'll talk about what time we're going to record on Wednesday.